That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yeah, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
What's up, everybody, and good evening. Goodness, excuse me. What's up, everybody, and good evening, and welcome to the Sports Report After Dark. I am your host, Seven. My co-host and our special guest will be with us momentarily. First, I did want to start by giving a special shout out and thank you to our sponsor, Gunslinger Soap. Gunslinger Soap is handmade soaps and beard products made without all the junk to pamper your skin. You can go to their website, gunslingersoap.com, and sign up to get 15% off of your first order and always free shipping over $30. That's gunslingersoap.com. Definitely check it out. Next, we're going to bring in my co-host with the most, Dan Dick Werner. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, sir. How we doing tonight?
Doing good. Glad to be here. We got a great list tonight, man. This is going to be a good
Cheers.
conversation. And cheers to you, my friend. There it is. Cheers to you.
Oh, he's got the PBR.
You can't go wrong, man. You can't go wrong. And we have a special guest with us this evening. You probably will be seeing a lot more of this guy on Sports Report stuff moving forward. But my good buddy, who has his mic currently muted, my new buddy, Wade Haystacks Calhoun. Welcome to the show, buddy.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Wade. Live from Lincoln, baby. From Lincoln, Nebraska, baby.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Trying to help them get the coaching shirts on over there in Lincoln.
Absolutely, go Big Red. Hey, go Big Red.
GBR. There's another one on here, Tony.
Hey,
go Big Red. That's right.
Who do you like out of the names that have been dropped so far as potential coaching candidates in Nebraska?
Honestly, right now, Mickey, to me right now, I don't really like a lot of the other ones, to be honest with you. I mean, what have they done? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, yeah, Lance Leipold, Kansas, okay, congratulations. But, I mean, what have you done for me lately type of deal?
Fair.
And you're obviously not getting Urban as much as we would all love that. Urban's not coming. So let's stick with Mickey, man. Let's see what he does. I mean, his recruiting trail speaks for him, and let's give him a shot.
Urban doesn't want to be in the middle of a full rebuild, basically.
No, not at all.
But I mean, they're just not he would have to come into something that was already set up to go.
It'd be like Utah.
Yeah, and it's not exactly, and it's not.
Yeah.
So
nope,
I mean, and
sure.
honestly, I don't know if with our absolutely spangled history of morally upright coaches that we just need Urban to just finish off that fucking. I mean, let's just make it even fucking worse for real. He's we got
your special teams is going to be nervous, especially your kicker if you have Urban Meyer as your head coach.
God, he might just take a spot. You got Frost who's letting Lawrence Phillips beat his girlfriend up in front of him. And then it's just a whole thing, man. Let's get a real Herm Edwards would be perfect.
I was just gonna say
Herm would be fucking perfect because he just he's not gonna do it because he's
no.
He will be back on Sunday Night Football by week 8.
He'll be back in NFL. He's not. Yeah. Yep. That's what that is.
Go ahead. Herm's basically going to stick with Herm is so stuck in 2001 with the Jets at this point that he's so stuck. He's stuck with Mark Sanchez. He's butt fumble days, and it's not. I mean, it's just
absolutely.
not.
Yeah.
So
no.
I mean, Go ahead.
Oh, what about you, Daniel? Who would you like to see, honestly? Who would you?
It's for me, honestly. I wanted Urban, and then I make jokes. I make jokes all the time about Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin leaving Pittsburgh.
Right.
I want Mike Tomlin, but realistically, Eric Bieniemy would be a huge hire. Eric Bieniemy would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I didn't take any stock into that, but that would be sick.
I think that could be realistic. That's a far-fetched one. I think it's going to be probably going to be dude from Iowa State.
Oh, Campbell.
Dan Campbell. No, not Dan. Not Dan. Yeah, whatever his name is. But yes, that
David. Is this David Campbell? I think his name starts with a D.
Yeah.
Is it Iowa? Am I wrong about Iowa State too?
Yeah, I was. Here we go, Mike Riley all over again. We don't even know who he is. We got to Google it.
Right. Exactly. We're looking up who the fuck. That's not a good start.
That's not a good start.
Not at all.
But hey, at least we try
Campbell.
to get it right. Matt Campbell. Okay.
Matt Campbell. Gosh.
So no D in that name. Oh well.
Yeah,
he's got Nebraska ties. He's got Nebraska ties. He used to work for what was it, Whipple? I believe.
Whipple,
way back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I mean that's the most realistic. That's the best one. I think that dude is legit. So he's legit college guy too.
It doesn't move the needle for me, but I mean, they run the ball. His offensive line is usually pretty pretty decent. So I mean, I guess if that's what we want to do, that's
fine.
The only thing for me is we got to have somebody with Big Ten ties on the staff.
Yeah.
I mean, look at where we've been with with all these sexy Frost. We tried to go outside the Big Ten. You got to have somebody at least on the staff from the Big Ten that knows how the Big Ten operates. And for me, I guess whoever you hire after that, it is what it is. So.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah.
Very well said.
It's about how much time Nebraska deserves on this show.
Yeah, no, I was going to say
maximum amount of time Nebraska football deserves.
So let's move on.
It doesn't. So it doesn't. But we're gonna get it in though. We're gonna get it in
for sure.
We're gonna get it in. For
sure.
So news was breaking on Twitter yesterday afternoon that Ime Udokah was facing punishment from the Boston Celtics for a consensual. Let's start out with making sure everybody understands the key word here: consensual relationship with a female staffer inside the Celtics organization. I know consent. You haven't thought that for that in a long time.
I love consent, dude. We talked about it. It's my favorite thing.
But Ime and this female staffer were in a relationship for I think it was about a year. And organization found out this is a violation of Celtics policy. News did break this evening that the Celtics have announced that he will be suspended for the entirety of the 2022-2023 season, and his future with the Celtics will be decided at a later date. That does mean chances are he may still get fired. They don't mention that unless it's still on the table. Like, let's just be honest here. So my first question, our guest, Wade, I'm going to kick this to you. How the hell do you cheat on Nia Long? Like,
man, I don't know.
My God.
I don't know. She's gorgeous. That's he's got a lot of questions to answer at home tonight, and it's probably he's sleeping in his car tonight, I guess. Let's just put it that way. That's putting it nicely.
That's putting it very nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know
He's sleeping at that secret apartment he has for him and his nephew.
For sure. Yeah.
Dan, what did you think, man?
I just figured out who Nia Long was. I just had to Google that too.
Oh God,
she's an actress. I see.
Yeah.
I know who she is. Yeah,
she was. She played Lisa in several episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, way back in the
she's got
That was because when I saw the name, I was like, I recognize that name, and I looked at the picture. I was like, where the hell have I seen her before? So I spent scrolling through her IMDb, which is very well decorated, by the way. She's got a great resume.
Yeah.
Very talented actress, like legitimately.
For sure.
But Lisa, back on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like what was that, like 5-6 episodes, different episodes that she was in, something like that. Very talented actress, but man, I will have to say, as we speak, obviously we talk about the human side of sports. I do feel bad for both this female staffer, which according to what I've been seeing through different reports, it looks like there was really only one female staffer in the organization. She was a VP of player development or something like that. And so it looks like that may be who that was, unless it was like a trainer or something. Which I don't honestly, I don't know.
It's definitely who it is. It's who you think it is definitely who it is.
But man, this guy, made a bad choice. Weak moment. What probably started out as unintentional for at least one of them turned into very intentional. And he makes a human mistake, and the entire fucking internet and the entire fucking world now know that you cheated on a smoking hot fiance.
It was his fiance. They're not married.
They're not married. No, I think because I thought they were, but I guess they're not.
I thought so too. If you
common law married is what I was getting at.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think because they've been together for a while,
and I think they have a kid together as well. If I'm not mistaken.
They do have a child together.
Yep.
If you take that part out of it, and I know you can't do that. Like obviously, it's a piece of shit move by Udokah. I get that. If you take the part where he's not in a relationship, like a serious relationship, out of it, then honestly, like, what is the fucking problem? He works with this person every day. So like, that's what I don't get is like, what is it technically her boss then? Not really. I mean,
there wasn't really a supervisory position there, but the reason and this was something that the Celtics acted on, the NBA really as a policy, they're like, if everything was consensual, we don't really, and nothing bad happened, like he used his position of power to help or harm her career. What's the problem? That's the NBA's actual stance on the issue. Like, it's not recommended, but at the same time, you know,
it's frowned upon.
Look at the history around the league, though. Look at the history around the league. I mean,
exactly.
Jeannie Buss and and Philly.
There is. Well, and that's the thing, and I think from the Celtics point of view, like, and I like the way that Skip and Shannon talked about it this morning on Undisputed. I thought was really interesting and an accurate way of talking about it. What it comes down to is protecting the logo, because even if it's not, even if in this situation it was a consensual relationship, and there's a lot of organizations in situations like this where as long as you just disclose it and everything stays above board, then it is what it is. But when you look at an organization like the Celtics, which is a multi-billion-dollar organization, they can't afford to take a risk. They have to protect that logo. And so even the appearance of something being bad, you can't have. That's why the league has the conduct and the ace in the hole. Every professional sports league, when punishing a player, has that player conduct ace in the hole for punishing them for off the field stuff or off the court stuff, whatever. It's because, protect the logo, protect the shield. And so I think that's what we're dealing with here. But with that being said, do you guys think it's the Celtics are taking it too far, considering the circumstances that we're aware of?
Let's do it this way, though. What if a player did this? Is he like they're not suspending Jason Tatum for the entire season? If he's doing the exact same thing. And you could say that his position would be more of a position of power than Ime Udokah's, right? Honestly, but like if he's doing it,
I can see arguments for that. Yeah,
they're not suspending Jason Tatum the entire year for that, right?
No.
So what the fuck is going on right now? Well, like I get that he's supposed to be in some kind of like moral high ground of a position. Like coach is like the guy that they follow, the leader, whatever. But at the same time, like. I mean, they don't suspend a player for an entire year for this.
What about Sarver though? I mean, look at that. Like he got a year, and we're giving Udokah a year for this. Like,
so
you know what I mean? Like I realize it's two different things, but I'm just saying like, and I know it's the NBA versus the Celtics here as far as how the punishment goes down. But anyway, go ahead, Seven.
No, and you raise a valid point, but I think that the contrasting difference is exactly the Celtics dealing with it. I think that the Celtics are making an example of Udokah, and it's more about how this is going to look at their response versus the issue itself. It's about how it looks, because that's why they're responding, is because of how it can look if things don't go the right way, which it legitimately very rarely do these situations go well. Like I say this as somebody who got in trouble for a workplace relationship because of how it looked. Guess what? It's simply because of how it looked, even though things were consensual the entire time. So it's one of those things where, like I said, protect the logo. But you're right. Jason Tatum wouldn't be suspended, because it's like I just came back to me. The comparison that I was thinking of, when you look at the sign stealing scandal in Major League Baseball in comparison, and I understand that that's a lot bigger, but think about the way the league approached it. They could have gone through and suspended all of these players. Like most of the major players in the league would have been suspended, right? So like we all understand that everybody was doing it, but even with the focus on just the Texans, they could have just focused on the players that participated and knew what they were doing. But people are there at the games to see players. That's what it is. That's your money. Nobody goes to a Boston Celtics game to watch Ime Udokah coach the fucking game. Like, let's be honest here.
Not unless you like defense.
Like
nobody cares.
I mean, we're not. This isn't somebody getting Gordon Bombay's loafers for kids who want to coach. There's no kids going to the Celtics games to watch Ime coach. Like, let's be honest here. But 99% of the people in that Celtics stand want to watch Jason Tatum play. And so that's the difference. It's the money. That's a huge piece of it. But they can make an example out of him And so and there's going to be two benefits for this. First of all, he's an example of the organization. Everybody's like, okay, they don't fuck around. The second thing is, if something does come up where something inappropriate did happen in the future, the Celtics organization has built-in credibility for handling these issues. And so it's less about them and more about the people.
It's not like I was going to like, hey guys, I got fucking Warriors Rockets tickets tonight. We're going to watch Steve Kerr. I'm going to let's go get Steve. Let's go get us some Steve Kerr on the sideline. Let's go just get us some Steve Kerr sitting between his two assistants and not doing anything, and acting like he's running plays for Steph Curry. You don't run plays for Steph Curry. You don't have to do shit. Ime Udokah ain't doing shit. They all know that he's just over there. Like most NBA coaches are just kind of bobbleheads who just like they're just there for like to make sure that somebody has a coach. I mean, most of the players are coaches, right? I mean, that's basically how it is in the NBA.
The head coach in the NBA is more about managing egos, not X's and O's. Because yes, your coaches, your lower level coaches may work on like in drills and stuff like that, X's and O's, but on the court, it's your player's job. Because you can yell at them all you want, but they've got to read that field and react to what's actually happening rather than what you're saying on the sideline.
Especially in basketball, especially in the NBA as it's played today. Like,
yeah,
it's so much freestyle. It's so much like what these guys are just doing in the moment. Like, and yes, they have set plays. They have out of bounds plays. They have halftime. They have end of quarter plays, shit like that. But like, it's all situational in between that. So there's not a whole lot going on there. It's like having your team in the right headspace. Like Steve Kerr's really good at it. Like Steve Kerr, obviously, like he has the respect of that team. And like, that's all it's about at this point. Phil Jackson was the fucking master, the Zen master, right? Well, I mean, so like, that's all it's about.
It's like those comments that Kyrie made last year about we don't need no motherfucking coach, right? Okay. Now, of course, we understand that Kyrie Irving's Twitter feed has turned very Trumpian in its content, but I think that's fucking fight me on it. It's true.
It's just flat Earth in it. He's out there just fucking talking about the flat Earth, and
the only thing I'm waiting for is Kyrie Irving to start talking about how hot Trump's daughter is, and that will just be a complete alignment with Donald Trump's Twitter feed.
Does that mean the world will just go into a black hole? It'll just explode. Like they just align forces, and it just like the whole thing just goes to shit.
What's gonna happen is you're gonna see the worst rap song ever with Kyrie Irving, Donald Trump, and Kanye West. Everybody will break down in tears at how confusing this shit is. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Like that's where we're at as a society. That's gonna be the sign of the apocalypse, is when we see the Kanye track drop featuring Kyrie Irving and Donald Trump. Like it's gonna
air it. They just air it like halftime of the Super Bowl, and like at the end of it, all three of them touch their penis heads together, and like it just goes into like a black hole of fucking like the whole timeline just skews into a fucking into like a Back to the Future, into like a Biff Tannen Back to the Future 85. You know what I'm talking about? Like everything's like fucking all fucked up. All there is casinos and shanty towns. Casinos and shanty houses everywhere.
This is great.
That's too funny.
Oh man, now I kind of want to see that music video. Like I know it's like the world's gonna end after it happens, but I kind of want to see it now. But no, it's an interesting topic though, because when organizations that respond to things like this and this direct and swift of a manner, as we'll say, are they overreacting to the situation, or is there justification in what they're doing? What do you think, Wayne?
Well, I was kind of thinking about it today as from the standpoint of our, and maybe they're looking at it from an internal standpoint, but also from, league wide, they are hiring more women into the league. And also on teams, you look at the Spurs and things of that nature. And so is this a way to, say, hey, look, in order, or maybe even for Boston not to have this issue down the road as to with him, doing that to other staff members, whether it be, on the coaching staff or in a higher up position, it really makes you think as to how they're, is that, in their thought process when they're doing this, is because, if you're going to hire, not that they shouldn't, but, if you're going to hire females, we need to make sure and protect them in a way, because if you have them on the staff or whatever the case, and and somebody gets a promotion, well, how's that going to look, and things of that nature. So that's where I'm at with that. So
he doesn't come back for that. He doesn't come back from this, right?
No,
with Boston.
No,
right.
With Boston.
So why are you even suspending him at this point? Like, why is Boston probably just needs to move. I mean, if he's going to get suspended for the whole season, Boston just needs to move. Move him.
Or if he just Or if Udokah just decides, if Udokah just decides to, hang it up himself before instead of taking the suspension,
just resign.
Resign. But not to say that the other teams in the league, they would take him tomorrow too. That's another thing. I mean,
right.
I think that's why they're keeping him suspended for a year, is because they want to make him sit a year, and then they're going to fire him.
Yep, for sure.
They just want him to miss out.
Yep.
So who's the interim guy? Do they have one yet? They
do. What is it? Joel. He played at West Virginia. Joe Mazzoli. He played with West Virginia in 2008. But I was kind of doing some digging on him too, and you know what? He also kind of has a checkered past of his own too, so that is also kind of interesting from that standpoint. In 2008, while at West Virginia, he was arrested and charged with underage drinking and aggravated assault, and then he also was alleged of grabbing a woman by the neck at a bar in Morgantown. So, so what's, so.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Good research, Wade.
That's great research. Seriously. No, that I didn't know that. But think about the message that sends, because that's going to get discussed, especially over the next few days. Like, everybody's be like, hey, remember this guy, beat the shit out of a chick, like it's just going to come back up. And what does that send? Punishing a guy in a consensual relationship. Yes, he was cheating on his wife. I get that. That's not okay. We're not condoning that.
Yeah, we're not condoning that. Yeah.
But which, like really, as an organization, which one is actually worse?
I mean, really, I would say Joe's is kind of right up there. I mean, you grab a woman by the neck. I mean, Udokah's just having an affair. Joe's over here grabbing necks.
He's grabbing. He's doing stuff. Yeah. He's doing stuff that you're supposed to do within the consensuality of that. Of said. Yes. Yeah. Of said affair. He's doing that stuff without consent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
God damn you, Joe. I bet he's Italian. Italian son of a bitch.
Remember, friends, it's okay to choke your wife as long as she gets consent.
Well, and who's to say in 2008, who's to say he's not still doing it now? It's just not under wraps. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times when you have that kind of mentality, like it's just going to shut off overnight when you get elected.
I'm saying 100% he's choked somebody since 2008.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Joe has choked somebody since 2008.
Absolutely.
Like Joe, when's the last time you choked somebody? Was it after 2008? Okay, that's what we thought.
Yeah,
that's what we thought, Joe.
For sure. Yeah.
Some sex worker comes forward. He was choking me. Davis Mills has to come out and be like, quit grabbing women by the neck.
She was paid. I paid her.
It's legal. It's legal. Happy endings aren't illegal.
Trevor Bauer's like, come on, man. No.
Yeah.
Kraft's like, what the hell? Come on.
Oh, that's great. You're going to fit in just fine. Man, it's a crazy situation, but like I said, I ultimately feel like the Celtics had to act. I don't think they really had a choice as an organization, because if this comes out through any other method, the organization looks bad, because there's going to be the what ifs and the people making shit up, as we're going to talk about that happening frequently with the Ben Simmons shit when we talk about that in a little bit. But like, that just
come on with some
swag. Had to protect. Right, but like they had to protect the logo.
They did. Yep, and that's what they did. Question though, for for either of you or both or whatever. So with this, or shoot, I kind of forgot what I was going to ask. Never mind. I'll think of it.
Think of it. We'll hit it after the Ben Simmons stuff.
Sounds good.
So yesterday, or was it today? Yesterday or today, episode of Old Men in the Three, JJ Redick podcast, dropped, and JJ Redick was interviewing one Ben Simmons. And for those of you that do not watch the JJ Redick podcast, Old Man in the Three, holy shit, you're missing out. First of all, JJ Redick is absolutely fantastic. I was telling Wade earlier when we were talking before the show, the Pat McAfee of basketball.
Absolutely.
In the way that he has come out of his career. And like even Wade was mentioning great stuff at Yahoo. That dude is just fucking stellar.
He's solid.
We all knew that this is where JJ was going to go with the post-career stuff. And like, it works out perfectly that it is a podcast, because you can tell on like when he does like when he was doing the NBA stuff with like ESPN and everything and Stephen A and stuff, that's clearly what he's meant to do. Like this, like obviously this guy's got a fucking knack for it for sure. But the podcast is perfect because it's like, it lets him show his personality more. And that is obviously his niche, but regardless, Simmons on there, like I said to you guys before we started, Simmons made me just like, I didn't think Simmons was a piece of shit at all before this. Like, I really didn't. Like,
maybe a little soft, but
I thought he was definitely mentally soft.
Yeah,
but like, sure. and that's not about him asking for time to do his mental health. I think that's strong. I think that's strong mentally. I think that he was just the reasons that he did it, or what it seemed like the reasons that he did it for, seemed soft to me in the beginning. And I think after he just explained it and stuff, and like the dude was saying on the podcast, he was like, dude, I don't know any other job where you wouldn't want to start over after something like that happened at your job. He's like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's like, why would you be asked to go back to any job, let alone, I don't care if it's basketball or whatever. And at that point, which reminds me of our show, Reddit goes, he goes, athletes aren't human beings. You know that.
I know.
And he's joking.
Oh my God.
He called it. Yeah, he totally called it.
That was one of my favorite lines in that entire episode.
For sure. Yeah, athletes are human beings.
Athletes aren't human beings. Come on now.
Nope,
no,
not at all.
But I thought it was interesting. The thing to me was how real he got about everything that they talked about. And like, especially, and yes, he's had time to work through everything. Obviously, clearly he's been in therapy and everything, but the amount of work that it takes to be able to talk about everything as honestly as he did, because it was very, very honest. Like, he did really well. It didn't seem like he was holding back. The way that he was able to articulate everything in a very objective and honest way, because he did hold himself accountable, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And it really, you got to see a true human side of Ben Simmons. What did you think, Wade?
Yeah, it was, and it is, kind of like we mentioned earlier at first, especially coming into the league out of LSU, and how he left LSU. Let's not forget about that. He flat out left those dudes in the wind at LSU there. So
he did.
And it's honestly, it's kind of followed him, and it's been kind of bad from that standpoint. But as far as the podcast goes, he was, like you said, Tony, he was very open. And not only that, but, just to kind of be able to see, his growth as a man within Philly, and then also not blaming them as well. At the same time, obviously, there's probably some things he wanted to say about Philly fans, and, he kind of was tongue in cheek with it a little bit, but at the same time, he was cool with it. He said, I have no problem with Philadelphia, but obviously it got to him, between Joel and Rivers, they threw him under the bus, 1,000%. I thought that before he left. I'm a big KD guy. I also love LeBron, but and now he's over there in Brooklyn, and I feel like, it's going to be a great start for him. And he kind of said that, and he's never been a shooter. And I always thought, he had great intangibles outside of the offensive game, and He just always kind of got a bad rap for that. But again, it was nice just to be able to see him, kind of open up in that way that we don't usually get to see. Like you said, athletes as humans. So it was nice.
Yeah, the LSU thing was. Ooh, I'm getting we're good. There you go. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, the LSU thing was weird to me because like he did just straight leave. He didn't give a fuck about that season at all.
Not an ounce.
They already that's another thing though too. I don't blame that completely on Ben Simmons. Why can't he just fucking go to the NBA at that point? Like why was he not already in the NBA? Like he should have just been in the NBA, getting his ass kicked. Like just get your ass kicked like you did at LSU, except for do it in the NBA. And do you think Ben Simmons walked into an LSU class at any point and the teacher was like, "I'm glad we're going to have him for 4 years"?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Glad we're going to have him the entire time.
He's like 101. He probably signed in online. He probably went on dashboard and wrote a sentence and they called it a day. Hey, here's your 50 points for the week, Ben.
When he was talking about his LSU days, like you could tell by the way that he talked about it, that dude probably never saw the inside of a classroom.
Not at all.
Fuck no.
None of them do. None of them do.
And I understand it, honestly. Like, I'm not criticizing it. Like, if they're not going to make him, why would he go?
Why would he go? Why would he?
But at the same time, let's not think of it from a class standpoint, though. I mean, his teammates. If I remember correctly, his dad or a family member was on that staff, brought in there for that reason to get him in to be recruited there, and then he just kind of flaked there. So, that to me, that kind of opened up, from there to be like, oh, what's this guy going to be about? And then, like I said, it followed him to Philly. But anyway,
it did because he's 6'10" with all those intangibles and all that stuff. Like that's what happens. Like when you're that highly touted, that motherfucker probably had a clause in that LSU deal that was like, hey, you don't really have to go to class, wink, wink. You don't have to do this, wink, wink. Like, oh yeah, your dad gets a spot on the fucking staff, wink, wink.
Yep.
Like it was all like he doesn't go to LSU. Who the fuck goes to other than Shaq? Like, yeah, they got Shaq, and then they landed Ben Simmons. Like they land a fucking phenomenal talent every 20 years apparently, and I guarantee it's because they just sell out their entire program. They're like, yeah, we're not going to win any basketball games here at LSU. So let's just get one big recruit to make people think we're legitimate, and then we'll just fall off the map again for 20 years. Is basically what happened. Like that's just what they do. So like that's what they did.
College basketball.
That's what they did. Yeah, let's get Megatron and waste his career here in fucking Detroit, around fucking broken down factories and broken beer bottles. Like it's fucking sorry Detroit, but you should give up.
And broken spirits too, because that poor fucking city, man. They've gone through so much bullshit.
Good God. You know who hasn't gone through a whole bunch of bullshit, Seven? Lincoln, Nebraska. Nebraska hasn't gone through no fucking bullshit. That place is a fucking pristine, beautiful city in which everyone should go to. One of the greatest downtowns I've ever seen.
Turn it into a ghost town, though, Danny. Turn it into a ghost town, though, Dan.
Is it really? A
little bit, COVID. I don't know if COVID a little bit. Obviously, your main hits, bars are still there, but obviously it's rocking on a Saturday, of course. But how much longer, we don't know.
It wasn't a real popular downtown in the first place. Very nice. One of the cleanest cities I've ever seen in my life. It's pretty clean. Yeah, it's like a town. It's like a town of like 5,000 people, except for it's like 1 million. Like that's what it feels like. It feels like a lot of residential area, and then like little spot. I lived on 84th and O, so like I where Southeast Community College goes. That little College Park.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, you remember that? You remember that show? I'm just getting cigarettes thrown at me right now. I'm getting cigarettes thrown at me. Did you guys ever see that show that Busted or whatever on fucking MTV where they would go to the college parties and bust them? All the minors drinking, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
that was College Park in Lincoln was on there one time, and I lived there, and I watched an episode of this show being taped from my balcony while I was having a party in my apartment. I'm having a party in my apartment. These guys are busted. Like all these dudes have all these dudes are like running around with cameras and shit. And they all have like the busted t-shirts on, and like they're literally cops busting a party like 100 yards away from me, and I'm having a party of mine. I was like, come over here. I'm like fucking joking around, like, come over here, bust mine. Trying to get on MTV and shit. But yeah, that place was nuts, dude. That's a complete cesspool over there.
Oh,
it's
God.
a cesspool at College Park. But yeah, no, anyway, back on subject. Sorry.
But no, it's like, and I can understand, like, you know, some issues there, you know, with the LSU thing. And I do get that. But I think a couple of the things that were the biggest takeaways for me were like when he talked about not dunking on Trey in that game against the Hawks in the the conference finals, like, and his reasoning behind it, his mindset, like stuff like that. Like, I was like, that was a very interesting moment for me because that was where I was like, okay, he is really getting into this. Like, he's talking about it.
I missed that part. Paraphrase what he said on that part. I missed that.
Basically, like, so he gets the ball and he goes to do that spin around and he just sees a jersey coming at him. He didn't realize it was Trey, and he saw that what's his name, Matisse, I think it was, is who he passed it to. He saw that Matisse was open, so he just got it to Matisse because he figured he would have the easy shot. But he said that, like, if I'd have known it was Trey, yeah, I would have just put it down. And it was just like, and he admitted, he's like, I didn't make the best call, but I don't regret making it because it was still a viable option. Which
the only reason why he's criticized for that is because of his history of, like, they immediately assumed that he didn't want to take that shot.
Oh, the shooting, yeah.
He didn't want to shoot.
Yeah, shooting. Absolutely.
That's immediately what they made it out to be. When in reality, he's never had a problem dunking the fucking basketball, guys.
No.
It wasn't like he passed. It wasn't like, oh, why didn't you shoot that 17-foot jumper over Trey Young? It was like, why didn't you dunk it over Trey Young? It's like, motherfuckers never had a problem dunking the like, it wasn't like he was, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, that's, they immediately made it about that.
No,
yeah, especially
transition. No, not at
they
all.
made it about that. Matisse Thybulle, by the way, is who you're talking about, Seven. And but Matisse Thybulle, one of the greatest names in sports, along with Thabo Cephalosha, who's also the NBA.
That's still
Meta.
One of my favorite. The Ocho Cinco of the NBA.
Yeah, great name.
Great name. Yes.
But yeah, what did he say? What he just basically said that he didn't see the play properly.
He didn't realize it was Trey. Basically, he didn't realize
he got overblown.
He saw it was a jersey. Yep. Like, and those were his exact words. I didn't realize it was Trey at that point. I just saw a jersey.
Bro, they got John Collins down there. They got dudes who could go up. I'm not going up against John Collins in that fucking situation. So if I just see a jersey and I got a 1 out of 5 chance it's Trey Young, I'm not hoping it's Trey Young. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like hoping Trey Young's rotating on me and figure out his Clint Capella. Yeah. Figure out his Clint Capella or figure out his fucking John Collins. Nope. Yeah. Nope. I'm not figuring that shit out.
He had to make a call, and that's his job. And you're not going to get that call right every time. Nobody's going to get that call right every time. But
look at LeBron. You think he's got every call right? I mean, he's a smart guy. But I mean, let's be honest here. You know,
and LeBron's game knowledge is just unreal. You know,
honestly, it's probably on par. You know, that they have got a lot of comparisons between the two. I mean, nobody's LeBron. I get that. You know, nobody's LeBron, and I understand that. But I'm just saying, as far as IQ, you know,
it's honestly, it's not a. I don't think it's a bad comparison.
Yeah.
Game knowledge wise.
Yeah.
Especially because there's,
sure,
like they were talking about on the JJ Redick pod, there's not a lot of guys that can effectively cover 1 through 5.
Well, yeah, 6'10" like that, you know, playing point guard like he did, you know. I mean, kind of.
That's really the part of the game that's always been underestimated for Ben Simmons is defensively. Yes. Obviously he's huge defensively. And people because of the NBA, because he's the sexy player, you know, he's the number 1 overall pick, all this stuff. He's
supposed to shoot, you know,
recruit. He's supposed to be good offensively. When people don't realize that how important he is defensively to a team is actually where his value is actually defensively. And people don't understand that because
in the game than offense got, you know.
Exactly. And like, but it's not sexy. Chicks dig the long ball. Like it's not sexy to do.
When you think about that Nets lineup this year, which as long as these guys are gonna actually put it down and play, which is the key point at this point, because Kyrie won't shut the fuck up.
Kyrie and KD for 35 games this year, guys.
I think that's an optimistic number, but I think that if and when we get all three of them on the court at the same time,
that's
that
gonna be
is
scary. That's gonna be
most
scary.
broken lineup in the fucking NBA. It is super fucking scary.
Unfortunately, they're so top heavy. I mean, Patty Mills and Cam Thomas can help out. Like Joe Harris is still there. So like
he'll be back.
So like,
hopefully.
That's when, and during that podcast that they actually talk about, that's when Ben Simmons was the best. Was when they actually say
when he had JJ.
He says they say when you were there with a bunch of shooters, and Ben Simmons goes, yeah, a bunch of white guys is what he says. At the very beginning of it, yeah, a bunch of white guys. But like, yeah, it's just
kind of like in Australia in a way.
Exactly, that's what he's talking about. Yeah, it's just like Australia because we're not about. It's like obviously the athleticism isn't there as consistently in Australia. He's like there's some guys. He's like everybody in America. He's
it's
like
a different game.
Is that talented? He's like they're just so athletic. He's like it's different. It's just a different game. It changes. He's like, but that's what Australia is all about. We just cut and like he's like I would just post up and everybody just cuts off.
Is basically what he was saying.
Exactly. And like and JJ said that he used to love playing with Ben Simmons because he'd get like two buckets a game from just Ben Simmons would just post up and then all he would have to do is cut and Ben Simmons would just find him. And he said, how'd you make that pass? One time in the game, JJ Redick asked Ben Simmons, he said, how'd you make that pass? He goes, motherfucker, I'm 6'10", I can make everything.
And I loved how candid he got in that podcast. Yes. I think that it was a great way for people to get an actual look at the way that he handles himself. And yes, you can make the argument he's sitting with individuals, at least JJ, who he considers to be his peer. And so, when you're sitting with people that you're comfortable around, it's very different than if you're sitting on the podium or on ESPN.
Wherever. Yeah.
And, so obviously there is a difference there, but who amongst us doesn't freeze up when you've got 20 reporters all yelling questions at you and what you're saying is being watched by millions of people? Like we so often as sports fans forget about the mental toll of what these fucking guys do.
Yep.
The mental toll of Rivers and Embiid throwing him under the bus.
Yes.
And I love how they called that out because I said it immediately. Like Dan and I were talking about it when that happened. Like I was like, man, they threw that motherfucker under the bus real quick. And I actually liked how JJ was immediately like, let's just call it what it is. They threw you under the bus. Like he was like, I like Doc Rivers. I like Joel Embiid. He goes, I like those guys. I'm friends with them. He goes, but they just threw you under the bus. He's like, that's just what it was. He's like, don't try and call it anything else. He's like, that's what it was. And so I like how they addressed that head on because I think that it showed, again, that thing that we talk about. Athletes are people too. JJ was reminding everybody like, hey, look, y'all got fucked with on this. You're about to realize how right this statement is. Like, and I think that's one of the great things about JJ is he has that ability to just say what it is. And, when you can put Stephen A in check and actually get him to shut the fuck up for a second.
Buried him.
Like
he gets JJ's going to get so much more respect from everybody too, because he was that guy who, if you ever watched JJ Redick play, all he did was run. He just ran,
dude, baby, run off screens everywhere.
Everywhere, constantly. He worked his way. Like when he first got into the league, there was people like, dude, this guy ain't gonna fucking last. Well, and he lasted for a long time.
To be fair, Dan, he even said that in podcasts and previous things. He's also said, hey, it took me a while to adjust to the NBA game, and I had to learn how to be a pro. I had to learn how to be a pro. And
there's a learning curve.
He definitely learned how to do that.
Yeah.
A species will not be judged on its strength or its will of power. It will be judged on its ability to adapt. That is what JJ Redick did. He just adapted to because he's not going to be the guy at Duke where he's going to dribble it a couple of times, come off the screen, and they're just going to run fucking ISO for him and shit. He knew that.
With the best dudes in the world. You're not.
He just started.
You're not the number one anymore. Yeah.
He just went to his trainer and went, hey, just throw me the ball right here, and I'm just going to spot up and take this three. And I'm going to act like I'm coming off the screen, and I'm just going to spot up and take this three. And that's what he did over and over and over again. And that's all he did in the NBA. He would just take off the screen. You just, right when he caught it, it's going up, or he's going to the ground with it, or he's getting rid of it. That's all there is. There's only three moves. There's only three things that he needs to do.
And he talked about, like, in the podcast, he talked about with Ben, like, some of his favorite ones that he took, like those ones where he was like falling out of bounds and stuff. And like some of the ones, and they were from Ben because Ben put it on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker, I'm 6'10". I can make any pass.
For sure.
It's true.
No,
really.
And I liked his quiet confidence. Like, it wasn't overbearing at all. He was just very comfortably confident that he is who he is. And when you're going through those intense mental health issues, it takes a lot to get to that fucking point. So super fucking proud of the guy for putting the work in, because it takes a lot to get there, especially having to suffer through in the public eye.
What did you guys think about that part when he talked about why did you go back to practice? Do you guys remember that part?
Yeah, because he said he's trying to do the right thing,
right?
And he goes, and like the part that really stuck out to me about that was he said I was trying to do the right thing to, I don't know, my teammates or my
teammates.
Whoever the fuck. He was like, whoever the fuck I was like doing the right thing for. Like, it was very honest. Like, I don't know what I was doing the right thing for. Like, he didn't even know. He was just like, I think that's what I do.
There was an internal compulsion that he felt like he had to do it for them.
Yeah.
And
which is the opposite of what you felt when he came out of LSU, though. See, so that's growth right there. You know what I mean? Like, we were seeing
in respect to him, like, I like how he honestly called out that when he was at that practice, that he told Doc Rivers, like, I'm not ready. And Doc Rivers was like, you're going. Like, I still respect the results that Doc Rivers has achieved as a coach, but it made me question his methods a little bit, because you shouldn't treat a person like that.
Are you a big player guy as they say he is? You know, it took a look into that a little bit.
It did.
Yeah.
I don't think that he is. I think Doc might be stuck a little bit in the past too. I think that
Doc's about Doc.
His ability to adapt has become skewed by his success, possibly. I don't know what it is, but
you don't have Paul Pierce anymore. No more KG. You know.
Yeah. You walked into a situation, but you walked into a situation, that if you didn't win a title, you're
tailor-made for a title.
Yeah, you're
crafted.
Don't think that was all about you. That was obviously about Big Shot and Ray Allen and fucking Kevin Garnett. Like, that was obviously about those guys. Yeah. And they kind of hoisted you into a level that I don't know if you completely understood where you were at, or like, oh, those titles were about my coaching. No, motherfucker. It's like we just talked about. They aren't about your fucking coaching. They're not. They're about the players on the court. Like, I don't even know if you weren't there, Doc, at all. Like, if you're taken out of the equation, it's not detrimental at all. It's less harming than taking anybody else out of that equation, Doc Rivers. I'll tell you that much. Like, if anybody else leaves that situation, it's a way bigger deal than if you just leave it. Like, I think Brad Stevens probably wins titles with that team. I think fucking
1,000%.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think fucking Jason
and the out of bounds plays. I mean, think about it from a strategy standpoint. What he would do with those guys.
Right. Like how much more did you need? You had veteran Kevin Garnett. You had a little bit of Kevin Garnett's prime left.
Yeah, the tail
with
end.
His leadership and how he kept that locker room. You didn't fucking need a goddamn coach. You had Kevin Garnett. You didn't need a
Brad Stevens was in Butler with a bunch of white dudes.
A bunch of them. Just a bunch of them out there. Just running around off screens. Yep. Everybody's running off screens. They're all running off screens, and they're all just fucking shooting threes. And they're all just playing shit defense.
The shit defense. It's and the thing of it is like, you think about it, like Doc Rivers. There are so many people that were like, it's him. He's the guy. It's like, no.
Well, what about in LA though? I mean, granted, I know they had a lot of different circumstances, but they had some good teams in LA with the Clippers. You know what I mean?
If he was that guy, if he was the guy they thought he was in Boston, that Clippers team wins at least one title.
would have broke through. Would have at least
1000%.
broke through at some point. Like they didn't even make a finals.
Western Conference finals or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
did they? Never.
I don't think they did. Yeah, no. Yeah.
I don't think they never
made a conference finals.
I don't think so.
I think he only made the playoffs with them a handful of times. I don't think it was very many at all.
And can we just put it to bed for one last time? Kawhi Leonard was never the best player in the world.
No.
Get that fucking shit out of your head. Kawhi Leonard was never the best player in the world. Like, that was actually a thing for a second. People were like, oh, he's as good as LeBron. And I was like, shut the fuck up, dude. Get out of here with that shit.
Not as good as LeBron.
He was a legit superstar in the NBA.
He was a superstar for sure.
He was legit, but
they were saying Jordan moment in this era. Let's be honest, had a Jordan moment in this era with Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, it happened.
He did, but at the same time, and won a title in Toronto.
Yep.
Like what a left fucking field in Toronto. I'm gonna say it again. Toronto, Ontario won an NBA championship, and this guy was behind it. And yes,
and he was.
I get that.
I think that was a lightning in a bottle situation.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, of course, we can always make the argument that every championship team is a lightning in a bottle situation.
I'm looking at
Yankees won it. Yankees won 5-4.
They won in the bottom of the 10th.
Yeah.
Who won it? Let's see. Hey, Seven, I was going to say, oh my gosh, fucking Aaron Judge, the MVP of the American League and the best player in the world right now.
I told you, Wade, that this was going to fucking happen, didn't I?
You did say that.
I told you.
You did warn me. You did warn me.
The best player in the world right now made a throw from right field, not offensive play, played a ball off the wall on Tommy Pham, who's one of the fastest guys on the Red Sox, if I'm not wrong.
No, that's a fair critique. He
played a fucking ball off the right field wall in New York and put a fucking throw on no hops to second base right on the tag, dude. Like Tommy Pham was diving in. This is top of the 10th inning. Or no, top of the 9th inning. And like Tommy Pham's going for like 1 out double, like they're gonna score, go ahead. And Judge played one off the wall, dude, and threw a fucking bullet. Who was it?
He's an electric outfielder. He really, really is.
He's a fucking cannon.
You've got a guy built like a tight end running around in your outfield and covering more space than a wide receiver could. Like, he's just
outside of Shohei. And I get the Shohei thing. Shohei's a pitcher and a fucking hitter. I get it. Like, that shit's not. You can't compare normal players to that. Like, you really just can't because Judge isn't pitching every 5 days. I understand that. Like, position player wise, I just saw it. No outs in the bottom of the 9th. Tommy Pham hit one off the wall, and Judge put this fucking throw from the warning track, dude. From the warning track, bam, right on Kiner Falefa, dude. Right in his fucking glove, tag down. Dude was already diving. Like, shit was fucking ridiculous.
The Red Sox, holy shit. So I said in our chat earlier that the Red Sox, I said in the winter meetings chat that the Red Sox were going to do everything they could to not give up 61 or 62 during this series because they did not want to be a part of that.
And they pussyfooted all around him.
Struck him out twice and walked him 3 times.
Oh, he walked off. He walked off 61. Oh, no, he didn't. Damn it. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Oh.
No, he didn't. Sorry, I yelled into the microphone. No, I just saw it. I hit it. Dude, he hit it fucking to the warning track in center field. And I was like, oh, no, he didn't walk off 61, did he? And no, he did not walk off 61. I'm sorry. They did win, though.
That would have been sick.
That would have been sick.
Sick.
Bottom of the 10th.
Yep.
Dude, I just saw him hit one off the bat. I was like, oh, shit, that's gone. And it went to the warning track, but they still won.
So the ESPN description on the video for that hit says camera tricks fans into thinking Judge hit 61st home run in walk-off fashion.
It looked a lot like it. It just tricked me, right? You guys just saw an actual trickery. You guys just saw the actual trickery, yeah. But you were saying that like the Red Sox aren't going to do. They're just not going to. They're just going
to. They're not going to get him. Let him have it.
If it happens, it's going to be tomorrow or Saturday. If the Red Sox are going to give it up, it's tomorrow or Saturday. I would be willing to bet money because at this point, the Red Sox have nothing to lose. They know they're not going to the playoffs. So they will pitch around him without any qualms all fucking night.
And New York's just going to feast off the fact that they're just going to pitch around him too. Like, it's just going to be like, he's just going to be on base every time.
And the thing of it is Boston's not going to care about that either. Like, because they refuse to be in that footnote for him breaking Roger Maris's record. Because
he's going to.
At the end of the day,
I'm so too.
There's one thing that is true about the Red Sox, and that is that they will fuck the Yankees every single way they can. And letting Aaron Judge get 61 or 62 against the Red Sox in Yankee Stadium is not going to fucking happen. I'm telling you.
So Barry Bonds went like an entire season like this, but I'm going to say this right now, and this might be blasphemous to some people who watch, because I watched the whole Barry Bonds 2004 season. When he hit the 73, this was an entire year of this. It was an entire year of what Aaron Judge is doing right now. But by saying that, I'm also saying that he's on the level that Barry Bonds was at in a certain time period. He's right now, he is on that same level as Barry Bonds was in 2004, which is fucking unbelievable. If you guys think about it, like, that's fucking unbelievable. Barry Bonds' on-base percentage was .560 during that season. Like, that was an entire season of this.
Man. That was a spectacle, you know?
It was.
Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Judge is on that level right now.
He is. And the reason you can't
it was must-see
fully
TV
compare
too. Yeah.
It was.
It was.
And the reason you can't fully compare it is, of course, in that one season, I saw a stat the other day. Barry Bonds was intentionally walked 117 times that year.
Yeah.
And still managed 73 home runs. Can you imagine how many home runs Barry Bonds would have got if they actually pitched to him in those 117 at bats?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I said this the other night to you. Yeah, like he's at the point where if you make a mistake, I watched him miss one tonight. He missed a pitch tonight, and I was like, what the fuck? He never, like, I was amazed. I was like, that's the one. I was like, they gave him the one, and then he got walked afterwards, and I was like, that was the one pitch he got. I was like, that was the one he got. Bonds wouldn't have missed it. Bonds wouldn't have missed it. Like, Bonds just would have fucking hit it out. And like, but the thing is, he's right there though. Like, he's right on the level where if you're gonna give him a pitch to hit, he's gonna hit it out. Yeah. And if you're not going to, you're just gonna walk him. That's what point he's at right now. Just put him on, or because his eye is the best I've seen since that Bonds year. Like, his eye is so good. He does not swing at balls. He doesn't swing at balls ever. Like, he does very, very rarely, and Bonds never did. He does but once every game, he'll kind of get a little bit too excited and he'll swing at one pitch outside of the zone. And that's about once every 10, 15 games. Like, I've watched almost every Yankees game this year. Once every 10 to 15 games, he'll swing at a pitch outside the zone. But other than that, he does not swing at pitches outside the zone. You have to throw him strikes. And when you do, he makes you pay for it. That's it. And like, the only time he gets out is when he just wrong angle. If he just hits a little tiny centimeter off the bat, hits it up in the air, something like that, or grounds it out, that's it. Or if he swings too early, he'll go up sometimes and just want to hit a fucking homer first fucking pitch of the at bat, and he'll ground out. And that's like the only way anybody ever gets him out. And so if he goes deep into an at bat, you're either going to walk him or you're giving up a homer. He's at that level at this point. And, and also, it's not just about a home run race at this point. It's a triple crown. He's the leader in the triple crown, all three triple crown categories at this point. Homers and RBIs, he's up by a big fucking long shot. And he's going to win those two easily. But average right now, he's hitting 316, 317. Yeah, in between the cusp. Mm-hmm. So it's between him and Bogarts and Luis Ariz from the Twins. And they're going to go back and forth until the end of this. I have a question for you guys. If he wins a triple crown and even hits 60 like he has right now, say he doesn't hit a fucking homer the rest of the year, which he will. If he finishes with 60 and the triple crown, that's the greatest offensive season that's ever been. It has to be. That's the greatest offensive season of anybody ever. Give me a better one outside of the Bonds 2004 season.
What about, I don't know, that Sammy Sosa run was pretty intense.
I mean, I was a little young for that one, but what about Sosa? Yeah.
But individual season, season, if he hits 60 and he's going to hit more than that. Say he hits 63. He's going to hit more. He's going to hit like 63, 64. He hits 63 homers. He breaks Maris's AL record, and he wins the Triple Crown. That outside of Bonds' 2004 season where he hit the 73 and Bonds didn't even hit over 300 that year. Well, I think he did actually. It was like right at.
It was like 301.
I think it was like right at.
It was like it was right. It was right around there. It was over 300, but just fucking barely.
Bonds didn't win the Triple Crown though.
No,
he had like 140 some RBIs. So like if he wins a Triple Crown and hits 63 home runs, breaks Maris's record, is that the great? That's got to be one of the greatest. It has to be. It has to be the greatest offensive season of all time.
It has.
No argument here. Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
All right.
Weird.
So before we wrap up tonight, the final thing that we wanted to talk about, Robert Sarver, owner of the Suns, was suspended for an entire season by the NBA and fined $10 million for the workplace culture that was going on within the Suns. Over the 18 years that he was the owner of the team, it was alleged that he sexual harassment issues multiple times, multiple uses of the N-word with the hard ER. Just
because we have to distinguish that now between
right. And I honestly, I think that I think it does change a little bit if it's the A versus the ER. I think
it's all about intent.
It does.
It's all about intent.
It's intent. I agree. Yeah.
And with that though, like in one of the situations that was cited was he was going, I guess it sounded like he was going off on a rant about why white people can't say the N-word, but he was saying ER. Like, bro, that's exactly why white people can't say the N-word. Like that's it.
I think it's ridiculous to say that I can't say a word, but at this because at the same time it's like it's not with intent. Like so in the preface of this conversation, I could say the N-word, right? It's not me saying the N-word to call somebody the N-word. It's me saying it in preface to a conversation that we're having. Therefore, that's okay. I'm not actually using it as it's meant to be used negatively.
Derogatory.
Yes, it's not meant to be used in like that's ridiculous. To say you can't use it at all is ridiculous but I'm just saying like yes, not in the form that it's used in negatively. I understand that. That's yes. I've had this conversation with many a black man. Many a black man.
And that's the thing is I've haven't had similar conversations because all four of the black men in Fall City.
There's one.
Exactly.
There's one black
guy.
Thank you.
I gave you
He's a rotating black guy.
There's a rotating black guy.
There's like three. And everybody's super nice to all of them.
Yeah.
They're all super nice to all of them. It's weird. It's very weird.
But like in the context of things, like, you know, there'd be some white guys that say they have an N-word pass. It's just that they have a lot of black friends, and their black friends know that they don't mean it in a bad way. So like you can say it around us because we trust you. But
still,
like,
they're like, why would you be saying it? Like, even if you hang out with a bunch of black dudes, like I've hung out with a bunch of black dudes before. Like, at no point does it come into my mind to go, yeah, I should say the N-word right now. I can never, like, it's just not a thing that I think about doing at that point. Like, why would I do that? Like, there's no reason. Like, I don't, like, these guys respect me without me, like, just tossing around the N-word as you know, like, haphazardly. Like, I don't need to be, like, I don't ever need to say that to them. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, they know I'm a white guy. It's all right. It's very noticeable.
And Will makes it. And
that's what I'm saying. Like,
raises the best point. Like, why say it at all?
I agree.
There's
what I was just saying. Will. Yeah,
like, absolutely.
Don't ever think about
it up for us.
And I understand that for people of color, like they've tried to, you know, for black people, they've tried to take it back and give the word a different power. And I 100% respect that. But when I hear somebody that's not black using that word, I get annoyed because like there's so many more creative words you can use to convey your point.
It's lazy. It's and ignorant. Yeah.
It's also just like a stretch to be something that you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like why are they trying to be? See, it seems like to me that they're just trying to be black when there's no reason to do like stop trying to be something that you're not, that you're clearly not.
I understand respecting people's cultures and idolizing people's cultures. Like what's, something that's interesting, we talk about, not appropriating cultures. We try not to emulate cultures outside of our race and what we actually have in our heritage, which I can understand that to a point. But like Japanese people, my understanding is that most of the time they actually feel flattered when people emulate their culture. They consider it a compliment.
That's form of flattery.
And I think that there's argument to be said that most of the time that when people are emulating the Japanese culture, it's not meant in disrespect, and people have clearly been emulating Black culture disrespectfully, intentionally disrespectfully. So I think obviously there is a difference, but there's different perspectives about these things too that must be considered. Where like if a Japanese person is emulating African American culture or Black culture, I guess is the more appropriate term, then it's to them, it's a sign of, it's a sign of adoration and respect.
Or at least a reference point, so like at least they're just referencing. Like I don't think
trying to relate.
It's not immediately just meant to be disrespectful. Right. I think it's just like like, oh yeah, Black people do this. Like it's funny. Like Chappelle said it best. He's like, it's funny. It's not a reason to hate a motherfucker, but it's funny. Like what I'm saying? Like it's like that's all it. Like that's all he's saying. Like white people do things that are fucking hilarious. Black people do things that are fucking hilarious. Like Asian people do things that are fucking hilarious. Like just in generalities, it's funny. It's not a reason to hate a motherfucker. Like that's the best way to put it. Is like it's funny. Well, like it's
when you talk about Chappelle, like another example of when he talks about that stuff is like when he talks about that trans comedian that he had open for him all those times in San Francisco, and talking about when he had actually, she was sitting in the crowd and she said, I just want to be treated like I'm having the human experience. Why not? Why can we not just do that for everybody? Like that's not
1000%.
It's not hard to do that. And so we look at these critiques of Sarver, and the NBA says, okay, you're suspended for an entire year. You're the NBA says you're suspended for an entire year and you have to pay a $10 million fine. And the NBA, and I think that the league is trying to not have their initial response when an owner fucks up to be stripping the team, because Silver comes in, immediately has to axe Roger Sterling, Donald Sterling, whatever the hell his name was. It almost immediately has to deal with that. So I think that from his point of view and the league's point of view, they're like, we're not trying to have that reputation where we're just removing owners all the time. Which I know all the time's a loose thing, but like I kind of get that perspective. And I think that the NBA also knew that players and fans were going to make noise. Sponsors were going to make noise. They were going to force it
when it hurts the bottom line. Yep.
Yeah, and that's why Sarver had to, Sarver announced that he is selling both the Mercury and the Suns because it's too much of a distraction. And I think that you had advertisers pulling out. The city of Phoenix was talking about doing an investigation. And then you had Chris Paul, CP3, Sir Cone himself, according to Pat Bev, makes the statement that he doesn't think the punishment is enough. And I think that started the dominoes, because when you have a black player say that, considering the allegations, that was the last domino that needed to fall for Sarver to have to sell the teams, at least in my opinion.
Sarver also went through this transition over 18 years. A lot of shit has changed over 18 years, especially
18 years,
from just a public outcry sense. Obviously you have people who are going to be way more offended by stuff 18 years later, right? Like, so obviously this stuff shouldn't have been said, but like now he's going back and like we're going back on all that stuff. And that was all stuff that he didn't think was going to be even, looked at, for one. Like he didn't think any of that shit was ever even going to come back
at
up.
the time. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, for what? It doesn't make him any less of being a piece of shit constantly, because apparently that's basically what he was.
Sterling didn't know that he was getting recorded with that recording that cost him his team.
Did anybody else think it was weird with Sterling too that like he's telling his Asian girlfriend not to hang out with black guys? Does that not make anybody else weird? Like I'm weirded out. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about?
There's so many contradictions wrong with that fucking situation.
Yeah, how many contradictions
he's
do you
the
have
Don Imus of sports team owners. I feel like
so weird. Like you're just like you have your what is she? She was like Polynesian or something.
Yeah,
girlfriend telling her like not to hang out with black dudes.
East Islanders, something
weird. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how many different contradictions do you have in your head, Donald Sterling, when you're telling your 32-year-old girlfriend, you're like 80, you're telling your 32-year-old Asian
wasn't
girlfriend,
it Magic Johnson?
Yes,
Magic Johnson.
Like not to hang, not to like. He said something like you can take pictures with them, but like don't hang out with them and stuff. Like
because it looks bad that his girlfriend is hanging out with Magic Johnson.
Oh, because it doesn't look bad enough already, Donald Sterling, that your 32-year-old girlfriend is like, what are you talking about? Like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, just stop. Just stop with it. Whatever contradictions are going on in your head, you old bat. Like, whatever contradictions are going on in your fucking head, like, just stop saying them out loud.
Just stop. Just stop.
Like, do you not know that recording devices exist? Like,
no, he didn't know.
Like because he was doing business in the 60s where you could basically just 2 lines of coke off of, Asian whores and it didn't matter because you were just doing,
I forget how old was he at the time. That'd be an interesting thing to know.
He was like 82
at the time.
Yeah.
At the time.
He was in his 30s.
It's like Tony La Russa, Tony Russa, like, yes, it's because he's too old to be doing what he's doing.
Yep.
Jerry Jones, too old to be doing what he's doing. I respect Jerry and the empire that he's built. 100%. The most valued sports brand in America. But Jerry is killing that brand himself with how bad he's running that team.
Yep.
But these guys, dude, okay, so let's take a second and just put ourselves in these guys' shoes. That's all they do is work. This is all these guys have done their entire lives is work. And for us to sit here and say, like, oh, I'd be taking a vacation, like, yeah, probably most of us would be like, okay, I think I've made enough money. Like I have billions. I think I've made enough money. Maybe I just sit back and have some Muay Thais until I fucking die as a rocket, like a rotten corpse on a beach somewhere.
Really?
Like he doesn't, but those guys don't understand that. Like they've worked their entire life every day. Their time is so valuable.
Right.
That's what you do. Yep. They're going to do it till they die. Jerry Jones is going to own that fucking team. He's going to be the GM of it until he fucking dies. So Cowboys fans, hope Jerry Jones dies soon. Like that's basically.
WWE thought that about Vince McMahon too. Kind of the same thing,
Until he gets pushed out. Yeah. Until he gets pushed out or he dies.
Yeah. And it took so fucking much to get Vince McMahon out of that organization too.
Absolutely.
Like he had so much control that it was like it was an act of Congress to get him to step down. And now obviously the WWE is hugely benefited because it looks like their product is actually moving in the right direction.
Ratings are going up.
Yep. Ratings are going up, and we're still it's going to take a little time for things to really come to fruition because they're basically creating entire new storylines for everybody. And in the wrestling world, that takes some fucking time. It does. Because this is a redneck soap opera. We can call it what it is. It takes time to get that shit right, this Sarver, and I think the thing that killed it for me and made me not feel bad about Sarver, because I can understand to a point, different ages, different cultures, the way that he was brought up, and maybe he wasn't necessary. He wasn't meaning, why can't we say the N-word out of hate? It was more his approach was more out of ignorance than anything else because of where he came, the time frame that he came from. It doesn't excuse his actions, but it does explain it. Yeah. But for me, what pushed me over the edge was in his statement where he announced that he was selling the team.
So petty.
It was it was so petty and fucking serving. The line that broke me was when he was like, because despite how many good things I've done or how many good things I will do, those things are overshadowed by this unforgiving culture.
If it wasn't for cancel culture, I'd still be here.
I mean, come on, bro.
Where does the line start? Because we can sit here and we can all agree that this guy clearly did not really understand where he was. Like, okay, so he didn't really understand, like, even though he is from a different era, he didn't understand what he was doing when he was doing it.
Wrong. Yep.
Right. But
yep.
how do you not, like, my question is, like, how do you not understand that that's probably not the correct thing to be doing, even in the time period that you're in?
Yeah.
Willful ignorance because of his position.
Yeah.
Like,
I legitimately think that, yeah. I legitimately think that's what it was. Willful ignorance because of his position.
Let's just reverse it. We know that everything that this cancel culture does is not probably the correct thing to be doing, correct? Like, we can sit here and talk about how
not always. I agree.
It's too much.
I agree with Tone on that.
That's all I'm saying. Case in point, we just sat here and went, okay, so probably some of the stuff this cancel culture does probably isn't the right thing to be doing, right? Why could he not go back and go, hey, I was treating these women like shit because I didn't think they could ever be of any necessary means in my organization, or I was saying the N-word in emails. At that time, did he not go, I probably shouldn't be doing this? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're in the time right now where this cancel culture exists, right? And we just all agreed that they're probably not doing everything correctly. Why can they not do the same thing?
And here's the thing. Cancel culture, the flaw with cancel culture is the mob mentality and the quick jump to reaction. Okay. And it's simply because, when we look at the American justice system, now it's not perfect, just like obviously the approach of cancel culture is not as well. While it's not perfect, the goal of the American justice system is supposed to be predicated on the idea that if you are accused of something and you didn't do it, you get the opportunity to prove it. And so often, I won't say so often, but too many times, because even one time is too many, the I don't know who it is, the cancel culture Illuminati, whatever it is, we'll call it that for operative fucking terms. They jump to conclusions. And then once you understand, once we all understand really what was going on, like Johnny Depp is a prime example of the failures of cancel culture, and not just the proof that our society doesn't care about men's mental health, but on top of that, we look at the fact that Johnny Depp was a victim of cancel culture in the sense that they rushed to destroy this man, when in reality he was the victim of the situation. And so now you have all of these people that have to delete tweets condemning him and pretend, but the damage has been done. We look at the Ben Simmons situation. There were so many, and they talked about it on the podcast with JJ Redick. Again, go watch it. You know what? I'm gonna put the link in the chat, by the way, because it is absolutely amazing if I can use the right fucking mouse. But there were so many people that jumped on the bandwagon of condemning Ben Simmons and propelling information that wasn't accurate. And so this dude gets crucified in the media, when in reality, once we learned the truth, we realized the mental health issues that Ben Simmons was struggling with going into that series against Atlanta, the mental health issues didn't start because of that series. They were already there.
They were just exacerbated.
They were exacerbated, and that was the tipping point. Those of us that struggle with mental health issues will always be able to identify those specific tipping points when our mental health took an absolute fucking nosedive. Like, we all can do it. And so with cancel culture, the issue is the issue comes down to very specifically the reaction time. I'm not opposed to canceling people that need to be removed from public domain. Okay. But in the same regard, we lose civility as a society when we willfully rush in and destroy these people before all facts are known. Tyreek Hill is another prime example of somebody getting their life absolutely upended by false accusations. But cancel culture decided that just because the accusation existed, the person's career and life should be over. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, like even there's even people in like Kobe's case when Kobe died. If you remember Kobe, like there was so many people who were like, good, another rapist off the earth, and I'm like, have you guys really even? I mean, like I'm not gonna say he wasn't kind of rapey in that situation, but also just out and out calling him a rapist because he had sexual assault allegations. If you actually, if you go back and look at that whole thing, at the very least, there was some pretty candor. Like the chick was very kind of joking about the situation that you usually wouldn't joke about if that actually was a situation, is all I'm going to say. So like that's like another rapist off the, like, you just got that out of the fact that he had, you got that out of the fact that he had sexual assault alleged against him. And then like, you just got that, like, she's another rapist. Like, yeah, you got to go a little bit deeper into that. Like that's a lot. There's a lot of situations like that where everybody's like, oh yeah, well that's rapist. He's just a rapist. I'm like,
quick to the trigger. Yep.
Yeah. And then it's just like that forever. Like you don't ever research it or anything. Don't ever figure out if you're actually right about it.
That's
like
fact.
Definitely. Like anybody that I call rapist Ben Roethlisberger, like anybody that I call rapist ever Ben Roethlisberger, anybody that I call a rapist Ben Roethlisberger is
Deshaun Watson.
I've actually done the research on it. Deshaun Watson. Like you guys are kind of rapey. Like I've done the research. We have very strict and like there's a lot of people have said that you were rapey, like you raped them. So like that's and it's been kind of proven that you've basically raped them. Like they've had investigations have been done that have said, and all signs have pointed towards you're rapey. But I don't just like go off of, just like, oh, that guy's fucking, I think that guy did this, like just making some absolutely insane allegations about people before actually doing any research on it is like not a great idea, not a great idea, and not good to just spread that along and be like, yeah, well, this guy did this, and it's like, and then somebody just figure out after the fact, like who was is
that also the bad part of cancel culture at the same time though? I mean, the fact that people just kind of take the information for what they think it is and not research. I mean, we're kind of like you're saying, Dan. You know what I mean?
100%. That's what it.
That's exactly the problem.
That is. Yep.
But now they can move quicker on it. Like it's bad.
Twitter, and the other thing that you see is the number of times when cancel culture is trying to react to an accusation, and there's so many people defending someone that you later find out really should not have been defended, and completely dumping on somebody that should have been defended. Kevin Spacey, when the allegations against Kevin Spacey first came out, so many people were like, no, that's not possible. Guess what? It was. Danny Masterson. Allegations first came out about him. No, it would never happen. Like I admit I even struggled with it because it seemed like there was really nothing that had ever been seen. But
these are
these are clearly legitimate problems. Kevin Spacey's dealing with jail time. Danny Masterson's on trial right now. It looks like he's going to jail.
It's even worse because these are people that you grew up with. These are people that you were, the staples of your childhood or staples of your, like, you loved them. Yes, you loved them. Like that was like part, like fucking Cosby, dude, had to have been an issue to a lot of people.
Another one
had to have been an issue.
That was a huge one for a lot of people. I remember that. But when the Cosby news broke, though, there were so many fucked up memes, like just truly, like. But that was also, I feel like that was the golden age of dark memes. Like,
for sure.
You always have your golden times, like your 9/11 memes and stuff like that are just all around classics. But
hilarious.
The dark memes that came out of the Bill Cosby situation, like truly fucked up content in every form. but the golden age of dark humor, I think, was that whole thing. But
hey, September 10th, a couple of weeks ago, you know what the next day was? Party in my house, man. Party in my house. Party in my house. No, but yeah, like, I mean, 9:07 a.m. Party in my house. We're gonna replicate. How much did they know?
I got in trouble for work at work. Actually, not long after I started with the company that I used to work at before the one I work at now. We were actually still going through the last part of our training on 9/11. And so like, they were like, oh, we're getting food for the entire call center, but every team's getting to pick kind of the stuff that they want. So they asked us, like, okay, what about appetizers? And without even thinking, I said onion towers. And
yeah, did you really?
I did. Like, it just came out because, like, and I knew what I was doing and what I was insinuating.
You did know.
I knew the entire time. Like, it was an impulsive thing as I'm saying. I'm like, this is really funny.
You just couldn't.
So much fucking trouble. I could not help it. It's that ADHD compulsion in me. Sometimes it's just something we gotta fucking say, regardless of how much trouble it's gonna get us in.
Yeah.
And yeah, 100% true story. I have a guy that was in my that training class with me that about every 6 months he'll send me a message. Remember when you made that onion ring tower joke?
Hey, onion towers.
And I saw it come across my Facebook memories. Apparently, I posted it on Facebook at one point too. So
it's
I'm
like,
really
that reminds me of that reminds me of Louis C.K. telling that story about George Carlin, where he's like, I saw George Carlin one time live, and he goes, and all he did was right when he came out, he shut the crowd up. He was like, shut the fuck up. And they were just cheering for him. And they were like, people were standing up and shit. He was like, shut the fuck up. I got to say something. He was like, do you ever notice the people screaming outside of abortion clinics are the people you wouldn't want to fuck in the first place? And he's like, he just had to get it out so bad. He's like, he just had to get it out of his mouth. Like, he's like, that's basically what you did. Like, he just had to get it out. He just had to fucking get it out.
It was coming. It was coming out of my mouth no matter what. Like, it was just, a dick when I'm done with it, just coming out of my mouth no matter what.
I went to a Halloween party in like 2008 in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh god.
In Lincoln, Nebraska, and there was two dudes there. One of them was the Twin Towers, an actual Twin Towers fucking outfit that had the Twin Towers, and the other one was a plane. And all the one did all night was run into the other one. He would just run into him, and the other one would fall down. That was all they did the whole time. And every single time, I laughed so hard. Every single fucking time, dude. Like, they would just, like, one of them would just be standing there, and the other one would just spear him. Like, and he would just fall down. I'm like, that was the whole thing. They just got wasted and ran into each other all night. And
it's so horrible. It's so funny.
The Twin Towers is tackling the airplane, which is even funnier. And then, like, yeah, it's just that's all it was.
And before anybody gets mad about laughing at 9/11 jokes, if Pete Davidson, who lost his father in 9/11, can laugh about 9/11 jokes, we're fine. Yeah. We're fine.
Yeah, right.
There's almost no other way to do it at this point. Like, what are we supposed to do? Like, we could all sit here and go, God damn it, man. That was a really hard time, 9/11. Like, everybody knows it was a fucking hard time, dude. Like, 3,000 people fucking died. Like, how are we supposed to do it?
9/11 jokes are how we truly never forget 9/11. We're doing a service to this society because we are preserving the memory of that heinous crime.
Nobody wants to sit here and listen to four guys who had no influence. Nobody was influenced by 9/11, obviously, other than the country. Sit here and go, guys, I'm very upset about what happened on 9/11. Like, what the fuck? Everybody was upset about what happened on 9/11. I was fucking scared, motherfucker. I was like fucking 12 years old. Like, I was fucking scared, man. I was like scared. I was like, Jesus Christ, are people gonna fucking like invade our country?
I remember because I had stayed home from school sick that day. And I was literally just sitting at home. I was living in Winston, Missouri. It's a town of 387 fucking people and 685 cows. It was a shithole of a town. And my mom called me because, like, she knew that I stayed home, and she called me in the house. She was like, "You need to turn on the TV. Some stuff's going on in New York City." And I'm watching as, the smoke is coming up from the first tower that was hit. And I was on the phone with my mom when the second tower got hit. And I just said, is this the start of World War III? Like those are I was 13 years old, and that was the first thought that came out of my mouth was, is this the start of World War III? Like,
yeah, we thought
as a kid I could tell.
We thought it was fake at first. Like we thought it was fake. I thought it was like a movie or something. Like I was like, what is this? Like what is fucking, and like I was in art class in like 7th grade. Like I was like and they had it the whole day. They just had it playing on the TVs or whatever.
Yeah.
And like that was like it was like the craziest thing ever. Like I couldn't stop watching it. I remember that. Like I couldn't stop watching, like, because something like that, I still can't. When I see the videos, dude, I cannot take my eyes off of it. It's like a car wreck. Like I'm literally like, I can't fucking take my eyes off it because of how grand and how like unbelievable the whole thing is. Like, what, there's a fucking plane hitting a building. Like, whoever gets to see that, for one, and it's just happening like as an act of like war. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was the weirdest thing ever. But yeah, like nobody wants to talk about like it. Obviously, yes, it happened. A lot of people died. Fucking sucks, right? That's obvious. Like, we're not gonna sit here and do that forever, though. Like, who's ever gonna be like, yeah, man, it really sucked. Like, no shit, it sucked. You fucking, like, idiot. No shit, it sucked.
Are we not allowed to tell Pearl Harbor jokes because they might bomb? Like, what's the problem?
Oh, it sucked, did it? You think it sucked? Yeah, it kind of sucked. They hit a fucking plane. They hit a fucking building with a plane. Yeah, it kind of fucking sucked. Like, I get it. We all get how much it sucked. All right, like everybody knows that it scared us. But like now it's
dark humor. Well, what's interesting is psychologists have proven that dark humor is a natural human response to trauma. People, and it's been scientifically proven through psychological studies, people that are victim of trauma continuously have a darker sense of humor than those that never experienced an extreme traumatic event.
Bro, Tony, you know Brennan. I lost my best friend, like, what is it? It's got to be 2 years. What, 2 years now? Brennan Bollinger. And like, me and Tom Mayfield literally sat here.
So Erica talking about, because Erica's in Oklahoma in elementary school, and we thought Timothy McVeigh escaped based off of the letters that they sent home with us. So after the Oklahoma City bombing.
Oh, think about that.
That's I remember that too, man.
Just like,
that's kind of like the earlier part of my memory, because if I say that was 96 was the Oklahoma City bombing, if I remember correctly. So I was 8 years old. 95, 96, yeah, somewhere. So it was like 8 years old when that happened. Now, I had to have been 8 because I remember I was living back in Arizona at that point.
I don't remember that at all. I remember 9/11 pretty vividly.
That was an interesting time because there was so much discussion and like I remember my mom breaking down because of the fact that, like, because with where that truck was placed, it was right by a daycare center that was in that building, that federal building. And just the discussion about the fact that there were all those kids in there just resonated. And there was it was really weird because I remember thinking this at the time when I was a kid when that happened, that when that happened, it was like everything got quieter for a couple of days. And I think that, the same thing kind of happened right after 9/11 was there was like that shock just kind of reverberated throughout the country. And then we saw this unity of what was patriotism, and I'll call it that because some of it wasn't actual patriotism; it was hate. But there was this unity of realizing that we had all just gone through something super fucking insane, and we had to figure out how to come out of it.
And it created a what they call a natural opposition. So in psychology, they'll say that every group of people needs a natural opposition in order to balance, and we're not going to get into all that shit, but like it created a natural opposition, which was the Middle East and oil. Wade has no idea what we're fucking talking about with Timothy McVeigh, by the way.
Yeah,
doesn't fucking understand. He has no idea because he's too young. He doesn't know. Like, there was this guy in Oklahoma City that put this big van next to these buildings and blew them up in 1996. It was like the pre 9/11. But this was internal. This is an internal act of terrorism. He killed a couple hundred people with like it was fucking big ass bomb and huge van.
He put bomb. It in, and what it was is he put it, the bomb. It was a fertilizer bomb, if I remember correctly. that he put in in the back of a U-Haul truck.
There it was.
And
Yeah.
He backed the truck up to the it was a federal building in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And then left it and detonated it. And the entire, like the side where the explosion happened, the entire front face of the building came down.
He basically killed an entire, like, it was like a 13-story, at least a 13-story building. It was a huge building. It fucking blew the whole side off this motherfucker. Killed a bunch of people. Nobody had any idea what the fuck was going on. Like, that was the first time that had ever happened, like on on that kind of scale. Like, nobody ever.
It was a lot bigger. Now, I don't remember the 92 World Trade Center bombings, and but those were even a lot smaller than what we saw on with the Oklahoma City bombing. And I just remember, because I vaguely remember being in Sears with my mom one time when the Gulf War was going on. So I was really, really little, and they actually had it up on all of the TVs in the Sears. And I asked my mom what was going on, because I remember like the little tracer bullets going into the sky, kind of like we saw when they went into Iraq and Afghanistan. They would show it on the news. I remember seeing that, and I was like, "What is that?" And she said, "It's Gulf War. We're going in the Middle East." My uncle was on a naval ship that was loading bombs on naval aircraft that were dropping onto the Iraqi forces. And so this was when I really started to really understand that stuff, and to just kind of realize that stuff was going on. And this was 92, so I was 4 or 5, and I remember being in that Sears. It was down here at Arrowhead Mall in Phoenix, Arizona. There was in the Sears that used to be in there. Maybe it's still there. I don't know. Sears even open anymore. But I remember,
Sears not a thing.
No, not a thing.
It was
not a thing anymore.
But yeah, I just remember being in their electronics section with all those big ass TVs that they had, and that's all that was on there.
All was playing. But like to the dark humor point, and just this is to close it out for me.
Yeah.
Like to the dark humor point, like Seven, you knew Britton, right? Britton Bollinger?
Yeah.
Okay. Was my best friend. I lost him like 2 years ago. I was like, well, probably around 2 years ago, something like that. Dude, me and Tom Mayfield still make jokes about how we're gonna find Brennan. And like, oh, I think he just went out for like some coffee or something, dude. Like, we still make jokes. Like, this guy died. Like, we know that he died. He was one of our best friends. Like, but that was our way to like, in the middle of all this, we're just making jokes about him dying. Like, right after he died, dude, we're making jokes about it the whole time.
It's a coping mechanism.
And we literally just went, right. And we were literally just like, hey, this is like, this is fucked up, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, it's fucked up, but like, he's like, this is just what we're doing. And we're like, we just like, that's all we could do. That's all we knew what to do. And like, the funny part is like, Brendan would have done the exact same, like, we know that Brendan would have done the exact same fucking thing. He was that, right. He had that kind of humor. He'd been doing the exact same thing. That's kind of why we were doing it. And like, that's kind of the whole thing.
When you have that situation, and especially because like with you guys were all close enough that there were those times you just sat there, at somebody's house just drinking and just, that time when you just got real and everybody was just joking around and saying the most fucked up shit because you were so comfortable with each other that you didn't have to worry about anybody thinking it was hate. You guys were just fucking around.
Right.
Well, so when you get to that point where you lose one of the group, like, and I'm sure Wade can attest to this as well, like, you all understand that, like, that person would understand, like, you're not just you're not saying things like that to be hurtful, like,
no,
you're just fucking around.
It's almost honoring. It's almost honoring them with the fact that we know that they would have been doing the same thing with, like with us. It's like we were doing the same thing we would have done with them. Was what it felt like. Like, that was what it felt like, and like that's it's almost a way of bringing them back into the equation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost bringing them back and bringing their memory back. Mm-hmm. And like, that was the weirdest part. Like, that's the stupidest part about like, oh, you can't make those jokes like too soon. It's never too soon, dude. Like, just get over the fact that I'm not trying to like actually make this. It's not like I'm going, oh yeah, I wish those people in the towers would have died. Like, what the fuck? No, I obviously don't wish the fucking people on 9/11 died. Like, there's just no other way for me to handle it. Like, I'm sorry that I'm weak. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it feels like. It's like, sorry, I'm weak. I'll just make these jokes about it. It's like, it's just a different way of handling it. Is all it is.
Yeah. Wade, what are your final thoughts, buddy?
It was fun. Thanks for having me, guys. Hopefully we can do this a little bit more.
Hell yeah, man.
I enjoyed it. So thank you. Hopefully you're holding Fall City down for me there.
To put it, he is. Oh, I am. To put just like a preface on Wade coming on, I literally like kind of found Wade off of Facebook. I believe that one of us befriended the other one. And then like we basically just like were like liking each other's posts for a while. We're like, oh, we both like sports, and then we just like grabbed.
Sure.
So Facebook isn't all a big piece of shit. Fucking
No, not at all.
cesspool.
No.
You know, sometimes
you can
it
find
does good things.
your hetero life mate on the internet. It kind of happens.
Sometimes this. I mean, I'm already in love with him. I was already in love with him before, and now I've met him, and it's
the
he's
hair,
every
the
bit of
smile.
Feelings mutual. I'm gonna send you a Christmas card.
he's every bit of what I thought that he was, and it's really good to know. You know, they said never meet your hero, but sometimes it goes all right.
It goes all right, yeah. Well,
Dan,
Wade, thank you for joining us.
Oh yeah, thank you guys. Dan, I don't know if, but I remember watching you play in high school, so that was kind of
yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
sure.
Old school.
Yeah, that's old school stuff. So yeah,
guys, we don't ever talk about this, but I used to play football.
You did. You did.
We don't ever talk about that.
I don't think it's going well. I don't think it's going well lately, is it?
Fuck no.
I tried to play
flag football like 2 years ago, and I was like, no.
No, I think he was talking about your high school team.
High school. I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, they're they're all right. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
My stepdaughter's a cheerleader for the team.
Oh, okay.
She's a freshman cheerleader, and she's actually like into the games, which is awesome. Like she actually like watches the games and stuff, which no cheerleaders do. They don't fucking watch the game.
No,
she's actually like paying attention. Like
they just cheer.
Yeah,
that's what
she's awesome.
She
like knows who won and shit. She's always like we were down 50. They just got beat the shit out by Boys Town in Omaha, Nebraska, which is like a huge, way bigger school, and they dominate us every year. They just beat like 50 or something like that. I was like, oh boy, that's not good.
Oh jeez.
But they're not all right. Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, it's not great. Not breeding a whole ton of people down here.
I miss Dan Fritz. Dan Fritz, he's the man.
Dan
Fritz.
That's who. I mean, that's who it was for a while. I don't know who the new. I honestly don't even know the new coach's name. I know a couple of coaches. Like Nick Kraft.
Right.
You know
Nick Kraft.
Yeah, I know.
Jonesy, is he still on staff?
Quentin Coatney. Dan Jones is not, I believe. Dan Jones is one of my favorite coaches ever. I don't, but the status of Fall City High School football, not my forte. I did go to a game. It was a lot of fun. Like honestly, I think they won the one that I went to. But yeah, they're not. It is what it is. Fall City football.
That's true. Anyway,
they use that to go get an education, and
thank you for joining us, Wade. And deal. We'll definitely have you back on soon. Hopefully, we'll see other pinfall stuff soon enough. Dan, thank you for joining me as well, my friend. For those of you that are watching and catching us after, you can always catch us on Spotify and YouTube and watch the past episodes. We appreciate your support. Reach out to us on Facebook through the Sports Report page to give us topics you think we should talk about. We'll see you next week, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on the channel you're watching now.
One time, Tony. Go be red. Go be red. There it is. Yeah. Take him out.
All day, Mickey Joseph.
Woo! Let's go. Cornhuskers. We're gonna start playing on the airwaves, Tony. Woo!
Yankees suck.
Woo!
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.